Hello everybody, my name is the Critical Wizard and welcome to another edition of Critical Critique. Today I'm going to be talking about the film Superman Shazam! The Return of Black Adam. This is a series of animated shorts, the Superman and Shazam one being the first one, the longest of the four on the disc. Let's go through the, four shorts as they go. The first short starts off with Billy Batson in his normal day, and he's meeting Clark Kent from the Daily Planet to talk about something. Like, they're talking about how even though he is not as fortunate as everyone else, he was dropped out of the foster care program and everything, and was never able to really find a family, and he's kind of been living on his own and struggling. He still is a very giving person, and he is going to try to give back and help other kids so they don't end up in his same situation. So yeah, and then while he's going down to meet Clark at the restaurant that Clark wants to meet at, Black Adam, which is a guy who's 5,000 or 10,000 years old, he has landed back, and he's he can sense the Wizard's energy, the Wizard Shazam. He can sense his energy around Billy because he's the next one to be chosen to be a similar figure as him. So he goes and attacks Billy, and Billy doesn't have these powers yet, so he's like, well, what do I do? Superman, he can't really do as much because one of Superman's weaknesses is magic. So whereas they are physically, like Black Adam and Superman, physically the same, because of his weakness to magic, Black Adam would eventually overpower Superman. So, Billy runs away, and he gets onto a train that, using a coin that he had gotten from some guy he helped out, earlier in the short. So he put it, he puts in the coin, gets on the train, and the train just takes him away. And he realizes that he's the only person on this train. And then it stops, and he's, at this, I guess, magic area. It's basically where the Wizard Shazam lives. So he gets off the train, and he's, he goes over to Shazam, and he's like, Billy, after all the, hardships you've faced in life, you still kept your kind heart. If you ever need my help, simply speak my name and you will receive all the help you need. That's very cryptic, and Billy's, 10. He doesn't know what that means. But essentially the place starts to crumble and Billy has to evacuate the cave. But he decides that he now has the ability to, take down Black Adam. So, naturally, Black Adam has just defeated Superman. So Billy shows up and tries to attack Black Adam, but, he's still 10. He hasn't transformed yet. So, Black Adam is, taunting him, telling him how it's adorable. He doesn't even know how to transform and whatnot. And so, of course, Billy figures it out, and they have a pretty epic clash. And Superman, helps as well. And the two of them are able to defeat Black Adam. But what do we do with him? And that's when the, guy that Billy helped out in the beginning of the episode who gave him the coin, he shows up again. And he's like, don't worry about this, Captain. I got it. And he's like, wait a minute. What are you doing here? And then it turns out that the guy that Billy helped was actually, one of the Wizard's, good friends who's actually a tiger. It's a very, it's magic. Magic's weird. And so he's like, last time we banished you for 5,000 years, to a star 5,000 years away. This time, how about 10,000 years? And Black Adam's like, no, never again. And he, says Shazam, and he turns back into his, human form. And his human form, ages 5,000 years because it's been 5,000 years for him. And that's kind of the end of that short. The second short is Green Arrow. It's a Green Arrow short. So it starts off with Oliver Queen in a car, just trying to get to the airport to, I believe he was picking up Black Canary. Like, well, her, I don't know her real name. But, so he was driving there to pick her up, and, you know, and you see him, he has like a little ring box, he's planning on proposing or whatever. But then he gets, like, he hears on the news that the Queen of Latveria is coming in, and, you know, he knows that there's, like, you know, people in the area that are going to try to, like, kill her. So he's like, oh, this is going to be terrible, and he, like, you know, gets over there, changes into his costume. So it's, like, you know, scene is cuts to the Queen, you know, she's a little girl, she's, like, has gotten off the plane, and is going down the escalator with her security, and then enemy archer Merlin, he starts, like, firing arrows and, like, you know, killing her security detail. And then, you know, at the last second, Green Arrow comes in and saves her and whatnot. And then you find out that Merlin is working for her, like, uncle or something, I think, Count Vertigo. And, you know, using, like, you know, so basically Green Arrow is, you know, fighting against all odds to keep, you know, the Queen safe. And at the end, you know, he does keep her safe. They defeat Count Vertigo and Merlin. I think Merlin might have gotten away. I don't know. It's been a while. But basically, like, you know, everything, happy ending. Black Canary actually ends up kind of saving him at the end. He proposes to her, and that's how the short ends. Short number 3 involves the Spectre, who is a metaphysical being that has immense power in the DC universe. He's basically like the Angel of Death, except he's the Angel of Vengeance. It's like he can, like, you know, he has spectral powers and he can, like, you know, basically do whatever he wants. However, you know, there are rules, and he always goes for vengeance rather than justice. The Spectre short starts off with a movie director guy, like, you know, jumping into his pool and then blowing up because someone had put a bomb underneath his diving board to kill him, you know, as a revenge plan. So the Spectre starts going and, like, you know, taking care of the people who were behind it, because obviously, like, you know, he knew from the beginning, because he kind of has access to that kind of knowledge, but at the same time, he wanted to, like, get them one at a time in a specific order. Like, so the Spectre, like, you know, gets the first victim, who was, like, a special effects guy who got fired by the director because, you know, I don't know, reasons. And, you know, he wanted revenge or whatever. Then the next guy that goes at, like, he was a stuntman. He was trying to flee this crime, and Spectre basically made his own car kill him. And then the final person is the director's daughter, who, the detective version of Spectre was actually, like, you know, had a love interest in or whatever. And essentially, you know, she's like, run away with me. And if he says no, she was planning to kill him. And he's like, not a chance. So she tries to kill him. And, you know, the bullets just pass right through him. And then he's just like, you just don't get it. And he basically kills her with the money she was stealing from her father. And at the end, he just walks away because no one can see him or interact with him, because he's just the Spectre. But the final short is actually, like, my favorite out of the 4 shorts on the disc. And this one, it takes place in the Old West, and it involves Jonah Hex. Now, Jonah Hex in the DC comics is a bounty hunter with a facial deformity. Jonah Hex is very good at what he does. He's a bounty hunter, so it's like he's not really a hero. But because he had a high moral code for the Wild West, and he was really good at what he did, and, you know, he always stood up for the innocent who couldn't stand up for themselves, it does technically classify him as a hero, even though he does some pretty dark things. But the West was a kind of a wild, dark time, so it's like he was a hero of that era. He wouldn't be classified as a hero in our era, and it's like, it's a very interesting distinction. But Jonah Hex, in this short, he's hunting down a man. And I should preface, it starts off with, you see the man getting killed by a woman who has, like, you know, done this plenty of times, lured people in, killed them, take their money, and just dumped them in a abandoned railroad area. So Jonah Hex comes into town a couple days later looking for this guy, and he's just like, he, like, you know, goes to the saloon and is like, hey, have you seen this guy? And they're just like, no, sir, never seen him. And then, you know, he asks one of the people who works there, like, you know, one of the girls, and he's just like, hey, have you seen this guy? And then she's like, yeah, he went upstairs, and once you go upstairs, you don't come back. So he's just like, alright, how do you get upstairs? And it's just like, usually whoever has the most money. So he buys a drink for everyone in the bar, gets invited upstairs, she tries to kill him, he obviously, like, you know, defends himself and beats her, and then he forces, like, you know, her to, you know, bring him to the body, so that because, you know, it's dead or alive. So she brings him there, he gets the body, she tries to betray him again, he knocks her out for, like, you know, just a quick moment, he gets out of the hole, and then she's like, please don't leave me down here, and he's just like, yeah, and he's like, you should have thought of that before you, like, you know, were evil. And then she's just like, I don't want to be alone down here. And he's just like, you're not alone. You know every single person down there. And the short ends with the light in her lantern slowly dying, and you just see, like, all the people she's, like, you know, killed and had thrown down there. And it's just, like, the way the short is done is just very well done. I mean, all these shorts are great, but the Jonah Hex one just really was awesome. It's like a classic Western. It's awesome. But, at the end of the day, that is just my opinion. For those of you out there who haven't seen Superman Shazam, it's Superman / Shazam Return of Black Adam. It's a very good animated movie. Like, the longest short is the first one, and that's only, like, maybe 40 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. The rest of them are only, like, 15 to 20 minutes each. It's very good, you know. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely go see it. But, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, leave a like to let me know. And if not, that's alright, and I'll see you guys in the next part. Bye!